Hey everybody, this is Kathy along with Brian. Welcome to another episode of the Main Street Moments podcast. And we're going to get to what's happening with the trackers in a minute because there's big news. They did a live stream the other day. Everybody was watching it, and Jen kind of admitted something that people have been suspicious about for a while. A lot of people in the Disney vlogging world have been talking about it for months and months. So she kind of confirmed these rumors. But the first thing we're going to talk about is the Ratatouille ride. We've been watching videos of it on YouTube, the new one at Epcot. And you actually have a reservation to go Wednesday at 3 o'clock, but it's a 3-hour drive. You'd have to go in the middle of the work week. And I got to tell you, after watching the videos online, I don't think it's worth the 3-hour drive to see this ride. Well, it doesn't look that impressive to me.
I've watched a couple of the ride through videos from the Epcot Ratatouille that are up this week. People have. And of course, everybody's seen the one in France for a long time. But I was expecting something. And even the queue, when you walk, the queue area where you walk into, it's very boring.
It does. I thought so too.
And, I'll tell you, there was at Universal Studio, this reminds me of a Universal Studios ride because it's all projection screens. And I remember when Fast and Furious opened at Universal Studios in Orlando, we happened to be there coincidentally when they had like a sneak peek. They had like the soft openings, and we were in our hotel at Universal. We were at the park all day, got a notification. It was soft opening, so I ran right over there, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This is an attraction." It was like really embarrassing, and and then Kong is a similar thing with the projections.
Yeah, I don't like rides like that.
Well, yeah, and they were like Spider-Man at Universal's a projection ride. I like that ride. A little dated, kind of falling apart and beaten up, but when it was new. This projection thing with Ratatouille, it is not Rise of the Resistance. It is not Mickey's Runaway Railway. And
it is in 3D. I noticed people were putting 3D glasses, and there's scenes where somebody's reaching out towards you, like a hand or something. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
Obviously we haven't seen the ride yet, but I don't love these projection rides where you're on, like, you're sitting in a car thing.
Yeah.
And you just move around and look at screens. That to me is not considered what I think is a great ride.
Yeah.
To me, a great ride is like the Great Movie Ride or Rise of the Resistance, one where it's like 4-dimensional. You feel it, you can reach out and touch it.
This is done on the cheap.
It seems so. Like, I just don't know if it's worth a 3-hour drive. If it was Rise of the Resistance, obviously you'd be there.
It's not even.
I mean, that ride's incredible.
Let me tell you. Now, I have a reservation this week, but we also have a park reservation on October 1st at Epcot.
Yeah.
So I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to go on Wednesday for this.
Well, if you go on the 1st, you might not get on the ride.
But yeah, it's true. But
they're doing reservations.
I think if I drove 2.5 hours each way in the middle of the work week
with rain,
and my reservation's at 3 p.m, and I'm thinking, you know what? Am I going to get on that ride at 3 p.m, or am I going to get on it at 5 or 6? Because it's in the afternoon, and then I got to drive all the way back and be at work in the morning to watch a drive-in movie.
Yeah,
it just doesn't seem.
I don't think it's worth it to go.
To me, no, it's not. It's not Rise of the Resistance. It's not the Runaway Railway, and it's certainly not Smuggler's Run either. I just don't. I'm not happy with it. It seems kind of on the cheap. At least I'm more interested in going to the crepe place they have in there than the ride. And I'm serious. Crepes are really good, man.
Yeah, I just was kind of disappointed when I saw the POVs of this ride. Now, it might be different in person. But and it is 3D, but to me it's like being at a drive-in and your car's moving.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not very long. I think, like I said, I like rides where there's buildings and characters that you can reach out and touch. They're like you see them in the round, or Frozen and the Railway have the new kind of projection look on the faces, And that's fine, but they actually have the characters there. Like when you go in that one hall on Frozen, you see Elsa standing there singing. Yeah. That to me is really a cool effect. This ride to me, just from what I've seen on YouTube, it's like you just move around in this trackless thing and you just look at screens. It's kind of like Woody's the Toy Story, but you're not shooting at anything.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's kind of like that, but you don't get to shoot at anything.
Here's the thing at Epcot. Okay, Epcot is becoming Magic Kingdom 2.
Yeah.
And
it's not what it used to be.
allears.net has a really funny Epcot video on Future World that I watched today. It is hilarious where they do these, I don't even know how to describe it, but they have like 5 or 6 people from allears.net and then they talk about things. It's very funny.
They've been doing some really funny vlogs lately.
You know, and they talked about the original idea of Epcot was edutainment, which is true. Like you're educated, entertained, you know. I know that sounds kind of boring on vacation. That was Walt's idea. But Epcot, I remember when Epcot first opened in 1982, I went there when it first opened, but I remember one of my cousins who was older than me, because I was 11 then. I had an older cousin who got to go to a sneak peek at Epcot. He was in a high school band that was playing at something, and they got to go in for this sneak peek, and he was in high school, and I was 11. He's like, you're not going to like Epcot. It's for adults. You're going to be bored. And I remember people used to not go there with their kids. They would say their kids are going to be bored at Epcot Center.
I liked it a lot.
Epcot's my favorite of the parks, honestly. I really enjoy it. Yeah, well, the construction's a pain in the butt. I don't like all the construction, but to me, it's more relaxing. But I
think it's really lost its way. It's a shell of its former self. The countries are cool. They need to add more countries. They need to.
I would rather them have added more countries than Ratatouille.
The Future World is nothing like it was meant to be. They had some great rides in there, like the World of Motion was an amazing ride.
Does Guardians of the Galaxy belong at Epcot?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly.
No, maybe at Animal Kingdom or something. They could You know, they have that talking raccoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it belongs there at all.
It belongs at Hollywood Studios.
But
it belongs at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, there's nothing wrong with having Ratatouille at Epcot. I mean, they do have the France thing and all that.
Yeah, it fits in.
But it fits in with that. But to me, Epcot, one thing I like, and we have a child. Although she's grown up. I don't have a thing against kids or anything. I'm not one of. A lot of people that don't have kids get annoyed at kids. I don't get annoyed at kids.
Yeah, we like kids.
Like if you're out and a kid's screaming, a lot of people get annoyed. Those are people that don't have kids. Our daughter is a grown up now. She's 22, but those things don't bother me. But one thing I've kind of liked over the years about Epcot is it's kind of like a place where it's more adult, except for the younger adults that are drinking around the world all the time and are running around dropping the F-bomb and are drunk. I'm really curious to see what Ratatouille is going to do, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. But first, Ratatouille, that's like a little kiddie ride. All the little kiddies that would normally be in Fantasyland are now all of a sudden want to go to Epcot so they can ride Ratatouille.
Yeah, they are.
So there's a bit of a problem at Epcot. So I hear some of the worst language on Disney property at Epcot because of all the drunks, drinking around the world. So you're going to have the drinking around the world with all the F-bombs, with all the little kids to go to Ratatouille. It seems like a little strange mix going on over there.
They're going to want to see Ratatouille, and they're going to want to see Frozen. So that's 2 rides. But you're right, Guardians should be at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they didn't do the Guardians overlay at the Tower of Terror, which I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I like the whole Twilight Zone thing.
Yeah, I do too.
But you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy is supposed to be an amazing roller coaster. Like the cars spin. It's supposed to be like a whole other level.
Yeah.
But I would prefer if Disney opened a 5th gate with thrill rides. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. And
I don't like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. That may be unpopular.
Yeah, I don't either.
I
like the music, though.
I've tried to watch them both a couple times, especially the second one is not even watchable to me personally.
Even though we like Kurt Russell and the soundtracks are great, but I like Chris Pratt, but they're not my cup of tea. But the Ratatouille ride, you know, we'll see what people say when they actually ride it, but from what I've seen, it's underwhelming to me. They could have done more. It feels like, to me, this like Chapek is just doing just enough to get by. And as long as people are paying, he's going to he's not going to go above and beyond. Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell us what you think about that if you ever get on that ride. But from what I see, it's not worth waiting in line for 2 or 3 hours. I can tell you that. Now,
let me tell you, this thing with the trackers is amazing, okay? Because I was very shocked at this. The trackers on occasion do live streams, and I like the trackers, okay? I watch Tim Tracker's videos. I don't usually watch their live streams.
Yeah. And we don't watch their home vlogs.
But I had on my phone, I got a notification they were live. I pulled it up and the live stream was going on. And I saw people were talking about them being dropped by Disney. It's like, oh, what is this all about? So I rewound it and watched it. And Jen, I was surprised Jen and timtracker admitted this. They said they have been dropped by both Disney and Universal Studios Orlando from the media list, from the press list. And timtracker, he got specially invited to go to Galaxy's Edge prior to it opening in California and Anaheim. In fact, he was there with Nathan Fillion.
Wow.
At the same time, so I was like, whoa, and he's got a big ABC show.
Well, they used to get invited to everything.
Cruises,
everything.
Hawaii.
They were comped cruises. They went to Hawaii. I mean, they were Disney's darling vloggers. I mean, they were really invited to every event. And we had noticed over the last few years or a year and a half that they were not getting invited to anything. We didn't see any videos where they were saying, oh, Disney did this, Disney comped us, Disney invited us.
The last time I can remember seeing Tim invited to a Disney event, now there may have been one since, but the last time I can remember when he got invited to a sneak preview was he was invited to a pre-tour of Disney Springs when it was first reopening after the parks closed from COVID. And he did go to that.
And he was invited.
That was last year. That was early. That was, I guess, March, April last year.
Specifically?
Yeah, he was invited. That was a special event, and that was the last.
That was the last.
Now he may have done something since, but that's the last one I can remember.
So they haven't been going to any media events, but I haven't seen too many Disney vloggers going to media events. So I thought maybe it was because of the pandemic.
Well, Prince Charming Dev he didn't get to vlog this, but he had a sneak peek a few weeks back of Ratatouille. He
just
couldn't
the
show
area.
it.
He didn't.
He got to go and he didn't get to ride the ride.
He didn't get to film it.
He got to go in the area and he got to see inside the ride. Although he couldn't film or take pictures inside the ride, he got to go inside the ride and see at least the queue area because he was talking about it.
So here's the story with Jen and Tim. So we had noticed that they weren't getting invited, and people were talking about it, and there was speculation, but we weren't 100% sure if it was that Disney stopped inviting them, or maybe they just were turning down invitations, or maybe Disney just wasn't inviting anybody. So she confirmed it yesterday or the day before, that they were no longer being invited to media events or anything by Universal or Disney. And she said what happened is there was a troll that was...
This is what Jen
said. That was hell-bent on just severing that relationship with the trackers and these
Disney and
theme
Universal.
parks.
Yeah.
And they had done some videos many years ago that were, in today's world, definitely not politically correct. And for some reason, they didn't take those videos down. Maybe they forgot about them. One was kind of deemed, little, I don't want to say racist, but...
One people said was racist and one said was homophobic.
Yeah, one was kind of racially insensitive and one was, homophobic.
They were
whatever.
10 years ago.
Yeah, so they didn't take those videos down, and maybe they forgot about them, but they apologized for them, and they did, I think, remove them after it was exposed. Like somebody did something.
And then they went on this charity thing for certain things where instead of it's time to pay the price, they were raising money for charities that dealt with racial issues.
Yeah. They were like going above and beyond to kind of redeem themselves because they acknowledged that these videos weren't the best. But apparently somebody brought them to light and brought them out of the archives and made some newer videos showing this footage. Yeah. And that then it kind of became fresh again in everybody's mind. And apparently, according to her, this person who she said is a troll, which, obviously, went on a campaign for months of sending emails to Disney and Universal through multiple email accounts.
Mm-hmm. This is what they said on their live stream.
This is what she said, talking to Disney and Universal to sever that relationship, saying they're homophobic, they're racist, and blah, blah, blah. And apparently the email campaign worked because Disney and Universal contacted them and told them that they cannot work with them anymore. Because of these videos.
For a long time, people have been speculating on whether or not timtracker had been dropped from the media list at Disney. People have been wondering about this, and this was a confirmation of it. Timtracker said, this was on the live stream this week. You guys can go and watch the live stream. It's about 20, 25 minutes into the live stream, I think, somewhere in that area if you want to go through it. But he said it's like 3 people. And Jen Tracker said that what Disney and Universal told them is it wasn't because of these old videos. It was just they wanted they were getting overwhelmed with these complaints, and they wanted to stop the complaints. So they did it to stop being harassed is what Jen Tracker said.
She said all these emails are coming from one source.
And Timtracker said there's like 3 people.
Oh, it's 3 people. Well, that would get multiple emails. Yeah. Email Disney, Universal, telling them you can't work with them. If you do, we're not going to patronize your parks. They're racist. They're this. They're
whatever.
That. They went on a campaign for months and months and months.
Well, that was successful.
That apparently worked because now Disney and Universal will no longer invite them to media events.
Timtracker, he talked about it in regards to Halloween Horror Nights, which is starting, and they usually get to see the houses and take a tour of the houses that they vlog prior to them opening. They can't do that
crazy.
Now. And, these videos, the controversial...
Yeah, they're like cut off.
Yeah. They can still go to the parks.
Right. But they're cut off from any special media access.
Like Adam the Woo is still banned from Universal Studios Orlando. Not Disney, but Universal Studios. But the videos were 10 years old. And I like the trackers. I like them. They were the first theme park vloggers, I think, or at least pretty close, the first ones that made it big. And I've gone back, not recently, but a long time ago when we first discovered vloggers a few years ago and watched a lot of old Timtracker videos. And Timtracker has changed a lot in the 10 years or so that he's been on YouTube.
Well, we all have.
And, he grew up, yeah. And if you go back to his early videos, if they're still there, I don't know, maybe they deleted all their old videos. Tim in particular, more than Jen, Timtracker was like Central Florida, Kissimmee. We're in Florida, so we live in Florida. Kathy's a native Floridian, so we can use some of these terms.
Oh, we can.
But Timtracker was kind of like a good old boy redneck type.
Yeah.
And if you go back to his early videos, he was just like a good old boy, kind of like a Central Florida guy, kind of like a redneck type. And he's a little more upper crust now.
He's wearing Gucci sweaters.
Yeah, exactly, and everything. I like the Timtracker. Now, here's the thing, okay? A lot of people do not like the trackers and don't like Timtracker.
People are very divided on the two of them.
I understand not why someone dislikes them, because I do like them and I watch their videos. And I'll say, out of all of the vloggers, if you watch Timtracker, in particular when he's by himself, if he's by himself at the park, there's more of this than if he's with Jen and their baby. But when Timtracker does a vlog and he's by himself, there is not a moment that he's not giving you valuable information about wherever he is. And I think he does very, very good vlogs, and they're very informative. And I don't know why anybody really dislikes them unless they've.
I know why.
Yeah,
because there's trolls out there that tell people not to like them. It's kind of like that thing where you don't realize you don't like somebody until somebody points it out to you.
Yeah.
I think they're very likable. They're very approachable. I know people that have met them in the park that said they are very nice. I've never met them.
Everybody
I've never
says
heard
they're very
anything
nice.
bad. Never heard anything bad. And I like
with someone that's met them. I've never heard negative.
And I like their videos a lot. And we've been watching them for like 5 years now. But it's really awful when you have a troll or a couple trolls that have no life and they have nothing better to do than try to destroy your livelihood and your business. And I don't understand. To me, it's pure jealousy. And I have my own theories on who it is, and people have talked to me about who they think it is, and we all had the same consensus on who it was, which was interesting. And I'm not going to say that who we think it is. But I think people kind of know there's whispers and this and that. To me, it's definitely a vlogger who is trying to knock them off their peg and to take their place. That I can tell you is my gut thinking. Why would somebody who's not a vlogger waste their time with this? It's got to be, to me, somebody who vlogs for Disney and wants to be the top guy, and they're trying to take Jen
or girl
and Tim or girl, Jen and Tim down a few pegs they can take their spot. Well, that's my personal opinion.
I think I've watched the trackers, I guess about 5 years we discovered vloggers, and I actually found the trackers through watching Justin Scard. we found Justin Scard, and that's how we found the trackers. And, so I like them. But the thing about the trackers, okay, if you watch their old vlogs, they've come a long way. I don't know what he did for a living, but he is a very handy man. If you remember before they moved into this big mansion that they're in, I don't know where they live, in Golden Oaks or something kind of. They live in like a very fancy place.
I don't think they live in Golden Oaks.
But their old house that they lived in was not the nicest of houses. Tim was always like redoing. They would do like these cooking things with this little stove that was like, it was the tiniest stove I've ever seen. It was a
starter house.
It was a very tiny house, and Tim would like refinish, do the tile work, and he's like a very talented handyman. Very surprised. He's got a lot of skills.
No, he's.
If you ever watch him do these things. But what's happened? He used to
do a lot, but now he's in a nice house. He doesn't have to do all that.
He can hire someone.
No,
now.
His house is so nice it doesn't need any work.
It doesn't need anything.
But yeah, he was always doing projects.
The thing with the trackers, if you watch them, okay, they did not have a lot of money in the beginning. There was one vlog. If you go back and watch some of their old vlogs, there was one that really cracked me up. We've talked about this on the podcast a long time ago. There's one vlog where Tim went to buy a machine to make beer at home with, right? And he goes to this dumpy neighborhood somewhere in the Orlando area, to this dumpy store, and it was such a bad area. The air conditioning to the store was chained to the building so someone couldn't steal the air conditioning unit. And he went in, he didn't vlog inside, he came out, he didn't buy it because it was $80. It was too expensive. This guy, one of his shoes costs more than that now, or something.
Nothing wrong with that.
So what's happened is the trackers.
That's what America's all about.
No, that's cool. I hope they become. I would like to see the trackers become the first Disney vloggers with 1 million subs. I think that'd be amazing. But they make six figures a year vlogging. And when they started out, they didn't have a lot of money, where they couldn't even buy this thing that cost $80. Now they got a Tesla. They're living in this huge house. And a lot of people, I think it's like a great American success story. It's really amazing what they've done. And they started doing this vlogging that no one really was doing back when they started. There may have been somebody before, but they were the first ones that I think that became like regular people knew. I think it's an amazing success story. And with that comes jealousy. And that's what you were saying, Kathy. The only thing I can think of that people don't like about them is they're jealous of their success.
There's a lot of people that don't like them. There's people that love them or hate them. I don't understand why they're so divisive.
Yeah.
But they are. And I mean, people that don't like them call them the slackers. Yeah. They don't like that they're
living the dream.
We always say their kid is like the Truman Show with Jackson.
Yeah, it's like the Truman Show.
He's like the Truman Show. That's their business. It's their kid. I don't care. He's a cute kid too, by the way. But yeah, I personally feel that whoever these trolls are, like I said, we have our theory who it is, and other people that we've talked to have come to the same conclusion. I'm not going to say who, but it is a Disney vlogger and somebody, I don't know if it is this person or not. This is just a theory.
Yeah.
And I think it's somebody who wanted to destroy their relationship with Disney and Universal in that regard so they could start getting... So they could take that place. Maybe not. It could be somebody that's not a vlogger at all and just somebody who just hates the trackers and is out to destroy them.
But you know what? The press events that they don't get invited to anymore, I don't really enjoy the vlogs when people go to press events. It's too corporate. Like I watch one.
Yeah, but they like going.
Well, it's like a perk. It's like a perk.
I wouldn't mind. I think it'd be fun.
They get free cruises and trips to Hawaii. That's a lot of fun. Yeah,
exactly.
But
nobody's offering that to us.
Yeah.
We don't have nearly enough subs.
That's true. Well, no, I do a cruise with my radio listeners. I do a cruise every year. But they're getting flown to Hawaii and they're put up for a week in Hawaii. It's a pretty good thing. But the perk might not be there anymore, but I don't think it's done any damage to their channel at all. And
I'm sure it bothers them, and I'm sure they're I'm sure they're upset that of the fact that this person that they don't know is so filled with hate and anger for some reason. Now maybe it's somebody they know. I mean, it might not be a vlogger. It could be somebody they personally know. That they had a falling out with, and this person is like a dog with a bone, and they're out to destroy their income or just and destroy their relationship with these companies. I don't know, but
well, I like the trackers.
I'm sure they're upset about it. It's it would be distressing to me.
Well, the thing is with vloggers, there's a lot of vloggers now, and there's a lot of competition, and it's a cutthroat. It's become really a cutthroat business.
Oh yeah.
Like in the next 2 days, we are going to see 38 vlogs about the lightning lane signs
in this
Magic
lame
Kingdom at
in this
Epcot.
lame Ratatouille.
Yeah. So but like today, I'll tell you, I saw someone today who got a press invite to the Ratatouille, and they got to see the merchandise, the Ratatouille merchandise.
Yeah.
And some of it looked pretty cool. Like they didn't say what the prices were, but they've got one that's a chef hat that you can wear. And it's got a light in it where you can see Ratatouille inside pulling
Kids
your hair.
will love that.
And then he pops out of the top. And it was so corporate. Yeah. I would rather see Tim go there and go through the store where they sell the merchandise as opposed to getting the corporate tour.
Well, I think Disney's making a mistake severing ties with them because they are still the top Disney vloggers. And he just went on TikTok a month ago. He's very fastly approaching 100,000 followers already. So he's going to catch up to JoJo. And on the last show, I said JoJo was at 680,000. He's around 500,000. I'm sorry. He's like at 400.
On TikTok?
He's like 400 and something, which is still pretty good. But the trackers, I think, are on their way to surpassing him. But, I think Disney and Universal made a mistake just because of these old videos that really nobody cares about, but some people do. I've seen some comments on these boards that people think they're racist, but that could be the trolls saying that and just getting people going. So who knows? But they're the top vloggers. They still get tons of views, hundreds of thousands of views sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I think Disney and Universal caved.
Yeah.
And I think they're making a mistake because there's nothing wrong with the trackers.
It's really,
and they get a lot of free publicity.
There's a lot of up and coming vloggers that are starting to get a lot of subs, right? I don't know if someone will be able to catch up with the trackers because they have such a lead and they're really high up. And the one that's close – now some people we don't include with vloggers like Disney Food Blog and stuff, I guess, don't get included in that. But the trackers are so far ahead. I don't know if anyone could catch up to them. But I was telling you the other day when we were watching – they're doing a lot of videos that are family videos with their son. They're a very cute kid and all that. And I wonder if they're trying to kind of get away from the theme park thing and become more who's the
Ryan,
the famous kid that's like a millionaire. He's like 8.
Yeah, the Ryans world. Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got his own toy line now of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if
nothing wrong with that.
If YouTube Google AdSense pays more money if you have like a kid or something because they're doing a lot. And
the real money is in sponsorship. And is in getting deals with big companies to test your products and do things like that.
It looks like that they're cut off from that now. But I'll tell you, with all the harassment
with Disney and Universal,
they were talking about all this harassment. I'm surprised they do so many family videos with their son in them when they had all the harassment.
Well, it's got to be upsetting to them because any relationship they ever get in the future with another company, these trolls can come along and try to destroy that too.
That's why I'm surprised they admitted it on the live stream.
I mean,
why would they confirm?
I probably wouldn't have done that, but
because
she did.
No one really knew.
We haven't talked about the new annual passes, and we need to talk about that before we end the show.
And the Space 220 restaurant.
Well,
I want to mention
I'm not concerned about that. We haven't seen that yet.
No,
but
I saw
the main thing is the annual passes and the Genie Plus. So we did a couple news videos on that last week, which a lot of people watched. We appreciate that. And a lot of people left comments. And I want to talk more about the passes than anything. The Genie Plus is the paid Fast Pass system. But the annual passes came out this past week. And I got to tell you, I'm not happy. To get you have the Gold Pass right
currently
now, okay, which comes with a photo pass. And it does have some blockouts, but not too many, but it comes with the photo pass.
And it gets me in everywhere but the water parks.
Right. So if Blog Mickey did a breakdown and we did a video on this. If you got an equivalent pass that equaled what you have now, it would cost another $499
a year.
That's like a 55% increase.
That's amazing.
So I am not happy about the passes. Because they have the passes are out now. They're coming out September 8th. We renew in January.
So we get to keep what we currently have until then.
Right. And we're not renewing our daughter's pass, and I might not renew mine. To get the top pass, is $1,300. That does not include water parks or the photo pass. So if you want to get those on top of it, it's $1,500 plus tax. So you're close to $1,600. To me, it's insane. It's highway robbery, and the Florida residents are getting the biggest increase over out of state people, which blows my mind. If you're out of state, you would see like a $200 increase because obviously their passes cost a little bit more. But a Florida resident up to $500 more a year. That's an unbelievable jump.
Yeah,
to get all the same perks.
As a Florida resident with the old pass system, you get a pretty significant discount for being a Florida resident. The one thing I'm very happy though about with the new pass system, which I really don't like it, and you don't even get the park hop on all of the new passes.
Plus, Brian, now you have to pay to use the fast pass.
Yeah, which is amazing.
On top of that, so you might have a pass for say you have the $900 pass, which is the second highest. Okay, so you get that. You still have blockout dates, not too many, but you still have some. You still have to make a reservation. You cannot park hop if you want to necessarily.
Wow, yeah.
And you now have to pay more money to use the fast pass.
And to get
crazy.
The only thing about the new fast pass system I'm happy about, because it's more of a relief because I was concerned about, is the new fast passes do include parking. And I would, and that's $35 a day to park there. And at Disneyland, they don't all include parking. So that's a relief. And we were talking about on one of our previous shows, and I think this is very true. The trams are not working still. They're not operating at the parks.
Crazy.
And I really believe this because they're not working at any of the parks. I believe that the trams are not operating to try to push people into paying extra money for preferred parking.
I think you're right. That's a disgrace.
And I really think that, and I'll tell you, this thing with this very confusing new lightning lane thing with the different tiers, and sometimes you got to pay to get in the lightning lane for a particular ride. Wait till they come out for the price on a Saturday afternoon for Mine Train and see how much that cost.
It's flexible.
Or Frozen. It's flexible.
We don't know the price yet. It probably, like you said, changes like the ticket prices change.
And hotel room prices change based on demand and by park capacity.
That is really crappy.
Plus the reservation system staying. And what Disney is doing is making it aggravating. It's not a magical experience.
No.
They're making it an aggravating, frustrating experience to go and enjoy the parks. And Disney is supposed to be a place where you escape and you don't have any worries and you don't have any stress.
Now this is called nickeling and diming you. Everything you do now in the park is going to cost you money. Everything. Fast Pass was always free. It's been free since it started in the early 90s when they had the ticket system. I think it's ridiculous that they're charging you to get on a Fast Pass. I'm sorry. And that they're taking away park hopping. Now, if you buy the top pass, annual pass, you can go to multiple parks in a day if you can get a reservation. That's not a guarantee. And then the other passes, it's even more restrictive.
Yeah.
The way what they're doing is this is the new normal now. So they figure people will buy it. They'll get used to it. The only way Disney would listen is if people stopped going and said no. And I've had a lot of people message that they just flat out, this is just enough. But you got to understand, Disney has lost billions of dollars because of the pandemic. Billions. They have to make that money up, and it's going to come out of our pocketbooks. That's how they're going to make that money up.
Yeah.
So this new CEO they have, he is a numbers guy. Bob Iger was a dreamer. And I think what happened is I think Disney got rid of Iger because he was spending like a drunken sailor. And they said, we got to rein this guy in. He's spending because it was one thing after another. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And exactly. They brought in Chapek to cut the fat. And now because of the pandemic, they're going to squeeze every penny out of people. And I think it's outrageous. And like I said, I'm not going to renew my pass or my daughter's. We just don't go enough to justify the cost. And we haven't decided the pass you're going to get. But it is getting harder and harder to love Disney. It really is. I love Disney, but they're making it so hard. They really are. They're not guest friendly anymore. I feel like I'm an intruder.
Before all these things, and the Magical Express is gone. before all these things and before the pandemic, there was already that Disney rage where families were at each other's throats at the parks all the time.
No, it'll be much worse.
Now they've added in all these other things. Now, someone left a comment who's a former cast member on one of our YouTube videos. I thought it was interesting. She talked about how the Fast Pass lane works. And the comment they left was that the way the Fast Pass lane worked is they would let in 5 Fast Pass people for every one person in the regular queue. And people have been talking lately about how fast the queues have been. And if you see an hour, you'll get on in half an hour a lot of times.
Because there's no Fast Pass anymore.
That's right. But now this Lightning Lane, it'll be interesting because it's not free. I don't know how many people will do it. I think a lot of people will pay for it. There's a lot of rich people that'll be there with 6 family members and buy it.
They want the regular line to be slow, especially now.
To force you into buying the pass.
And I promise you'll be able to get you'll be able to pay for the Genie Plus in real time, like in the park. You can add it on as let's do it through the app. We're tired and the kids are screaming and crying, and let's just do it for these last 2 rides. You know how much money they're going to make off that? Yeah. I mean, like I said, they got to make up the money. But the problem is, I think a lot of people are just going to not plan to go. Like, it doesn't affect us as much because we go for the day. And we're Floridians, is different. But
if I can't get on a ride, I'll get on it next time.
But I think people that plan trips, I mean, people have told me they go for 3 weeks at a time. I've never heard of such a thing. That's crazy. But that's what people do that live like in England or far away, and they come and they will stay. This one person said they were coming for 3 weeks and it was costing $20,000. You could buy a car for that, but maybe they got the money to burn. Yeah. But somebody left a comment, that's the biggest waste of money. And now they're rethinking it. They might go to Universal instead, because he said Disney, they're charging he said he had paid for his trip, right? At $20,000 for 3 weeks coming up. He said now with the Genie Plus, he's like, I'm going to have to add another $2,000 or $3,000 on top of other expenditures and things, just if I want to enjoy that perk. Because the way it is when you're in the park and you're spending so much money, okay, then the way you look at it is, I'm spending so much, I want to get on every ride possible, so I'm going to have to pay for this to get everything out of this experience to get my money's worth, and then you end up spending more money. It's crazy.
Well, what's going to when the new system goes into effect, which is very, very soon, probably a lot of vloggers, I think, in the beginning will buy it to see if it's worth it. And I'm going to watch a lot of those vlogs. But here's the thing I'm going to give you some caution about, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of people that buy it. Oh, look, I got right through. Most of the people that vlog go during the week. So they're not there for the weekend crowds. I'm only there usually on the weekends. I don't go during the week. So don't judge when you look online. Don't necessarily judge the queue wait times based on a lot of vloggers because they're there during the week. Watch someone like Resort TV 1 on Friday or Lake Buena Visitors on Sundays. They live stream and then watch them and see how they get through it. Because unless you go during the week, okay, but I think most people go on the weekends. Yeah, I don't think they're making it a pleasure. They're making it frustrating and work.
I almost feel like Disney doesn't want anybody to come. That's how I feel.
Exactly.
Like, don't come. We don't want you here. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We covered a lot of ground, so leave comments, tell us what you think, and we'll see you guys in the parks.